Hi everyone, so this is my submission of my practical exam to HFPA. I will first go through all the tests performed prior to designing a program specifically for a client. So first we conduct a screening procedure. This includes having the client fill in a consent form, personal history questionnaire, and a PARQ, which assesses the client's readiness for exercise. We then conduct a number of tests to actually evaluate the client's current fitness. So the first test is a blood pressure and resting heart rate. So we had the client have a blood pressure related chart that we actually used for the practical. Blood pressure was found to be 117/77, which we consider normal. We manually calculated her resting heart rate and found it to be 62 beats per minute, which is actually excellent for the client's age. I did also calculate the client's target heart rate zone. This enables us to ensure that she works effectively during cardio workouts. We calculated this within the 70 to 80% range. Since this is the range in which we can improve aerobic fitness, I found the target heart rate zone to be 140 to 150 beats per minute. The second test was a body mass index, which indicates body mass relevant to height. I found the BMI to be 21.77, which means that the client is at a healthy weight. The third test is a waist to hip ratio. So I calculated this to be 0.9, which is actually a bit high since females should usually not have a ratio higher than 0.8. The fourth test was a postural assessment. So this allows us to see if there are any structural abnormalities that could be linked to any possible complaints during exercise. So we look at the front, back, and side view. I've marked a few points which we look at the most. So a few questions that we could ask are the earlobes level, are the shoulders level, are the iliac crest level? Is the spine straight, the scapula flat against the thoracic wall? Is the eye and the ear in the same level? And does the spine have a normal S-curve? So this is an example of a quick postural assessment score sheet that can also be used. So we can see the client scored 45 out of 60, which is fairly good. Most problems that we have seen are in the back. So this could be the reason for lower back problems. Body fat percentage. So we did not have skin calipers to actually measure 3 and 6 skin fold readings. So I did use an alternative method, which is the tape measure. So what we do is find the circumference value, and then we compare that to the client's height. We can then estimate the body fat percentage. So that came to 24%, which means that the client is actually lean. The sixth test was flexibility, which was the back arch test. We found 30.15%, which means that the client is fair to moderate in terms of flexibility. So the power test, which was the vertical jump test. So we measure the distance between the height that the client reaches in position 1. And then we also measure the maximum height that she can reach, which is position 3. We then measure the distance between position 1 and position 2, which I found to be 22 centimeters. So the muscles of the lower body are relatively weak. For muscle endurance, we chose the push-up test. So the client was able to perform 31 push-ups in 60 seconds, which for the client's age range is considered to be good. So then these are the cardiovascular tests. So I'll just play some videos in between.
So this cardiovascular measurement test is the rock walk 1 mile. So the client will walk as fast as he can for 1 mile. Our machine here measures the distance, so that will be about 1.7 kilometers. So we'll have them walk, and then after that we'll measure the heart rate.
from the Rockport 1 mile test, we can calculate maximal oxygen uptake, which is our VO2 max. So we use weight in pounds, age, our G value will be 0 because our client is female, time as well as our heart rate. So for this test, we see that the client actually performed very poorly. I think this is attributed to the amount of time that she actually spent doing the test. So if the time decreased, then our values would increase.
This is a measure of cardiovascular fitness. So what the client will do is up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. We do this for 3 minutes. We then have the client sit down and then measure heart rate in the time for about a minute. Minutes left. Seconds.
So from our step test, we can also calculate VO2 max, but this will be at a lower intensity. And then this calculation also uses recovery rate instead. So for this, we can see that the client actually performed very well. So I've chosen a resistance band workout, meaning that we haven't used any weights or machines. The client does have a few balance problems, so we need to work on this before we actually add weights. She is also a teacher, so she doesn't have much time, so the resistance band workout can be performed anywhere. She is also very new to exercise. Okay, so our general warm-up consists of cardiovascular exercise and then 10 minutes of dynamic stretching. Examples are the walking knee lift and the arm swing.
Okay, so the first cardiovascular exercise that also handle the safety as well as an emergency stop button. So the client will have it on the sides. Then continue to show us speed at which we can go. Okay, and then we'll have a sleep on it. Place our feet shoulder width apart and cross over for more tension. Tighten our core, keep our back straight and upwards, up, elbows, upwards, and then slowly down. Elbows upwards, up. 1, 2, not too high, 3. Bend over row, left foot, right arm. The higher up we are, the more difficult it is. The lower down we go, the easier it is. So left foot, right arm. And 1. So elbow backwards. So go about half. Put your foot back more. Keep your back still. Okay, pull out. Yeah. 3, 4, 5. Other side.
3, 4. It's over. It's over. This is the resistance band deadlift. So you put your feet in, shoulder width apart. You lower down until your chest is almost parallel with the ground. Straighten up. Now release. Your eyes looking forward. Right. Back up. Now again. Back up. Tighten your abs. When you're coming down, tighten your glutes. Come upwards. Okay? Number 4. Okay, so alternating leg lunge. You go forward. Let's keep the back straight. Put the thigh protecting on your hips. Okay, 1, 2, and stretch your feet out. 3, 5, we can go in. 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is our core exercise, the plank. For beginners, you can move forward, go down on your knees. So for beginners, we can have it done like this, or we can have our knees lifted off the ground. So basically, you tighten your core. So do this for 30 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Shoulders are also directly over your elbows. Feet facing upwards, hands extended. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the PNF stretch. We usually do this after about 10 to 20 minutes once the muscles are already warmed up. So this is the PNF assisted hamstring stretch. Okay, so ideally we'd have the leg go up to about 90 degrees. But we'll slowly stretch this, and at each point we'll keep it for about 30 to 40 seconds. So we'll have hands on the side. Make sure that the pelvis is flat. Okay, just this time. So first, 30 seconds. Then step. Okay, so push against. 30 seconds. Keep your pelvis in. Okay, stop. Now move more. Do this for 30 seconds again. Okay, so we'll do this about 4 to 5 times, and then we'll turn around and do the other leg. Okay, so our cool down is then aerobic activity followed by some static stretches. Examples are the lateral neck stretch, the tricep stretch, side lying